All right, we are live. Let's go. I'm fired
Let's
up.
go.
Amazing.
Let's go. This is fun. I'm excited. This is the beginning of some good stuff.
Yeah,
Welcome, everybody.
welcome, welcome. If you don't know Nicole or myself, we've got a little bit of what we're up to in the description. Of course, you're on our page, so feel free to wander after you hang out with us for a little bit. But ultimately, um, and I'll just kind of kick off how this all came about. So, Nicole and I were going for a walk, a little bit of movement, a little bit of mind progression, talking ideas, talking life, talking this beautiful chaos that we call life and this wild ride we're on. And we were like, hey, let's just get out there. Let's do a live. Let's do it for, several weeks and see what happens. And let's talk about something we both love. Let's talk about something that's so important to us, something that is present in our days, in our lives, every day, every other day. And we decided to talk about human connection and people are power. So you were on a journey with us. We're going to do this once a week, every week. And we're just going to share some stories, some insights, things that we're facing, conversations we're having, things about sales, about people, about connecting, selling with your soul, all these amazing ideas and concepts that we live, we breathe, and we bring to this world. We wanted to just talk about it in a casual setting and share it with you all. So that's how this thing happened. That's how we are here right now, today, in the moment.
It started through connection and conversation, which is how everything starts. And we also want it to be the opposite of what a lot of things are that you're seeing on the internet nowadays, which I don't have a problem with automation and AI and everything, but this is what people really want. They want human connection. They want real, they want raw. And, Jim and I have been doing stuff in the business world with entrepreneurs for a very long time now. And I think that there's a big opportunity for people to really continue to step towards what we're all craving, which is more human connection. And I think automation is amazing. And, AI is a really cool tool, but people like really being able to connect with other people and having conversations. And I know you and I have both learned through doing business for many, many years successfully that the heart of business really is people and connection.
100%. 100%. I mean, if you think about it, Nicole, is it actually a sale? In your business, when you're working with someone, is it really even a sale, or is it a conversation or a group of conversations to see if you can help someone?
I call them micro conversations. I think the macro outcome, the macro result, the decision, really, that's all it is. Sales is just helping somebody make a decision about what's best for them. And all of these little steps to get to that big decision are actually why the decision is made. And all of those steps are what make a relationship, a connection with people. And to me, that's when we really strip it back and we go, oh, wait, this is just showing up to conversations, knowing how to lead and guide people to a decision that's best for them. And how do we do that more effectively? We learn how to connect at a higher level with people. And Jim, some of my story. Many years ago, when I was really successful at my corporate job, I was like, God, I was chasing a lot of goals, and there was nothing wrong. I don't regret anything I did, but I really wanted it to feel like it was about the people. And I was like, okay, if I really want to get back to the relationship part of all of this and prioritize that, what would I do? Well, I would read some books to learn how to do that better. And so I went and reread How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I still to this day think that's one of the best business books of all time.
I was doing this hike near my house about 6 or 7 months ago, and my goal was to go in the mornings right when the sun came out, get it done in 2.5 hours, and then be back home and get ready for the day before 8 a.m. And I was hiking and I was like, man, I really need something to kick this up a notch, right? I think it was 3 hours and 14 minutes the first time I did the hike.
Wow.
And I put on that book, and because it supercharged my soul, I feel like I ended up doing the hike in 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it wasn't so much the information or the book. It was the relatability of how I want to live my life and how he breaks it down and gives you those business examples. So it was really cool because when I re-explored that book for the second time during this hike, I actually got it. Like I actually understood it because human connection is the baseline of it. And for me, the first time I read it, well, I had one motive. I need to sell more and make more money. When I reread it again, that one motive was, how can I be better and show up for people more? And using those tactics and strategies and hearing it through that lens, I say read, but I was hiking and it was an audiobook. Hearing it through that lens was just like, wow, this makes so much sense. I'm doing a lot of it, but there's so much opportunity here to do more.
Yeah. Well, and I think it makes us realize that's how we want to be treated. That's how we feel important. That's how we feel good when we're interacting with somebody else. And so if we recognize that, wow, that feels good when someone else treats me that way or listens to me or cares about me. Wow, what if I made that my intention all the time and was people first, like the tagline, a lot of people say people before profits. And yes, right. How can we really make it about the connections with the people? And, for those that don't know, I used to teach high school math and I did that for 15 years. And so I came from a teaching background. And when I first went into sales, I thought a lot of things about sales that I now know are not true. I thought you had to be like the master of your product. And I'm not saying you shouldn't know your product, but one of the ways that was proven not true to me is what I sold was coffee. And you know this story. And
I love this story, by the way. Like this is one of my favorite Nicole Cramer stories. So please enlighten us. Yes.
It's funny because I thought when this person asked me this question that I had done something, I felt like I'd kind of been caught, right? Because here I was, the number one salesperson in the country, and what I sold was coffee. Okay. And not just, I didn't just sell cups of coffee, right? I wasn't like a barista. But I redid people's break rooms. So we would go in and we would look at what they were, serving their staff in terms of coffee and what they offered. And then I would make some recommendations. We would put in some new coffee brewers, some new coffee, whatever. And before I got that job, I did not drink coffee until about 2 months before I got offered that job. A whole divine set of human connection and how that happened. But about 2 months before I got the job, I started drinking coffee. So I wasn't really an expert on coffee. I knew my drink was a vanilla latte with oat milk. I did not know the origin story of coffee. I just didn't know a lot of things that you would think somebody who's a number one coffee salesperson would know. So anyways, somebody said to me, wow, you're the top salesperson in the country. You must know everything about coffee. And I was like, I felt a little bit like revealed because I'm like, I don't actually know anything about coffee. And I was like, no, I actually don't. I know my drink, vanilla latte, but I don't know much else beyond that. And he was like, well, what do you think how do you think you did it then? And I said, I know people. I think that's what I focused on, is I just focused on the people because I didn't know everything about coffee. So what else was there to focus on? And I learned, I guess, by doing that I could make people feel important. So even if I was not the person that knew every answer about the type of coffee that person might be interested in, if I made a good relationship with my Nespresso rep, then I always had my Nespresso rep to call, or my Starbucks rep, or my Pete's rep, whoever the vendor was that prospect was interested in. I could bring in the expert and make them feel important. And I didn't necessarily have to do all the heavy lifting to know everything, as long as I made sure that I took care of people and helped them get what they wanted.
What's really important, right? It's not, it's someone, not something.
Yeah. Because I wasn't really trying to sell them coffee, like the thing that we sell is never the thing that we're actually selling, right? I was probably selling them higher retention rates. I was probably, one of the areas that I sold was in Silicon Beach, right? Which is Silicon Valley from Northern California, came down and everybody established a place in Silicon Beach, and they were looking to recruit the top talent in the area. So I was helping them recruit by stacking their break room, right? So I wasn't really selling them coffee. And I think that that's one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have is, do you know what you're actually selling? And to me, that differentiates a lot right off the bat. Like, are you selling the thing you think you're selling, or are you selling what the people actually want? And that's really important.
It's so crazy to think if you wrapped yourself up in the understanding that you needed to know everything about coffee, one, would you even be in the seat you're in today? How crazy to think about. And then two, would you have done so well in the business? Would you have walked into those rooms thinking, oh, I don't know everything, even though I'm trying to find it, figure it out? Like, you took the action.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost a blessing, right? Because it's like, well, I can't rely on this skill. I can't lean back or fall back on a coffee fact. So let me go build a relationship.
Yeah.
And that relationship became fruitful in a way where that brought you to number one, right?
Yeah.
For the folks that don't know, we're not talking about like some small company here, okay? We're talking about Fortune 500. So when she says number one, it's a big deal. I'll give it to Nicole. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's one of those funny things. I mean, not to like stay on that one forever. Thank you. But it's one of those funny things where it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have been able to do that, you know? Like, I'm going to be number one. Like, whoa, okay, yeah, good luck with that. But, you know, I think it's a testament to what we're talking about. I didn't know all the things that I felt like I should have probably known. And to your point, I was learning a lot at the beginning of starting that job. I mean, coming from 15 years of being a high school math teacher, I knew the quadratic formula. I knew the Pythagorean theorem, right? I didn't know operations wise how my company worked. So there were a lot of things that I had to learn. And just about, okay, here's a great story. You'll appreciate this. I had no idea what a pipeline was. I did not know what the word meant. I knew nothing. And we were sitting in a sales meeting, and this was very early on in my first year. And everybody's like, you know, because that's what you do. You get together as a sales team and you're with your sales manager, and everybody's talking about their pipeline and what it looks like and what they're working on. And just so you know,
pipeline, Nicole.
I'm like, everybody's talking about a pipeline. And here's where I was so confused. We sold coffee brewers. We didn't just sell coffee brewers. We actually installed them. So we had technicians that once we got someone set up on a contract, we went into their break room and we plumbed into their water line, and we're hooking up and connecting these like industrial sized coffee brewers. And so in my mind, I'm learning all about how that side of the business works. So I'm sitting in a sales meeting and we're talking about pipelines, and I'm thinking, are they talking about like the water pipeline for the coffee brewer? And I'm like getting nervous because I'm like, I don't know what to say. I guess I talk about people's pipelines in their break room. So I was so confused, and it got to me and I was like, can somebody just tell me what a pipeline actually is? It's like, oh, says the girl that says she's going to be number one in the nation, right? But I didn't know what a pipeline was. And, you know, I got a pretty hard lesson in that moment, and a lot of teasing for sure. But I now know what one is. But I didn't. And so those types of things were not my focus. It was, okay, how do I just get to know some people and find out if they need what I have, and I'll go from there and do the best I can.
It's funny because now you've got me thinking, like, I remember when I was 20, I just became a director. I was 21 years old. And they pulled in all the asset managers and the directors and basically like every level below VP or president or VP. So there's a lot of directors. I'm the youngest one, and they implement this thing where at the end of the month, we send this dashboard to everybody. And on the dashboard, it goes over the revenue, right? So, you know, it was 2.1 million this month. These are the expenses. This is the highest expense. Here's the average number of transactions, and there's graphs, and it's just a one pager. It's very analytical. And then at the bottom, it talks about like our survey scores and our secret shoppers, because there was a service-based company, and we had those. And then at the end, the president was like, we're going to put in a section where I want you to talk about an experience that you had with the client and about their personal life. So like, I want it because it's all analytical, and it's revenue, and then it's transactions, and then it's surveys and scores. Now this is the page to send a note and tell them you enjoyed lunch or something about their family that you learned. And this was I'm 35, so this was 14 years ago. So it wasn't like, let's just go on Facebook and all the answers are there about people, right? Like 14 years ago, people were on Facebook, but it wasn't where it is today. And there wasn't people sharing everything as much as it is today.
Right.
And, I'm the youngest person and I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, yeah, easy, done. And everybody's like, freaked out. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? What did I miss? And the president leaves and everybody kind of hangs out. And I worked in the corporate office at that point. So my desk was right down the hall. Other people worked off location. So people were hanging out and everybody starts to bicker and like freak out about this scenario. And that was the first time that I actually realized I'm not in sales. I'm not in client retention. Like, everybody's freaking out because they don't have a relationship. Everybody's freaking out because on the internal forum, you would have to reference how many times you saw them, how many times you had lunch with them that month, like how many times you were in their presence, not just stopped in and did an audit or things like that, or sent an email or a call. And it was like 4 times a month. I was averaging 9.
Wow.
So even though I worked in the corporate office, I was still at location in their office, working in the cafeteria, hanging out, right? And I worked for hospitals at the time. So Boston Children's Hospital was a client, Dana-Farber was a client, Brigham and Women's was a client, big named hospitals. And because I didn't have the salesy sell it and run, or, just get them in the door and someone else will have to deal with it, I actually wanted to be around these people. This was also people that were some of the smartest folks I've ever engaged with. I mean, the CEO of a massive hospital like Boston Children's, pretty smart person, one of the smartest people I've had a conversation with. And he's over here talking about transportation, valet parking, concierge, shuttles, and he's crushing it. So that to me was just so explosive of like, wow, this person has so many relationships. They're so well-rounded. They're running all these interdepartments, from the clinical side to the transportation department, to the nurses, to the staff. And I already had these relationships. I already was seeing these people. That was the first time I realized it's not actually sales. It's not actually retention. It's not actually fulfillment. For me, it was just natural to do that. I think because with how I grew up and the relationship with my parents and losing my dad and, them addicted to drugs, like I was already fighting to build human relationships and human connection so I could just play at the same level others were playing at growing up, right? So I feel like it built in me, but I never realized it until that one point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting because I do think, and for those of you that don't know this about Jim, he did a TEDx talk and it was incredible. And it was about, I don't remember the title of it, but it was about like, who's that person that's going to get you? Who's your 51% person? Like, who's the person that's going to help you? And I've learned so much from you about how people can be super impactful, just like that person in your life. Like, it really comes down to like, who are your connections? Who are your relationships with? And things like that can change the trajectory of your business, your life, everything from those types of interactions.
100%.
What was the title of your talk? Remind me.
Someone, not something, is the catalyst to following your dreams. So I wanted to play against, AI and tech because those are great resources, but it's never been go download this or go take this course or do this app. Like, it's never been that for me, right? It's always been a person. And people fight with me all the time on it, right? They're like, well, a person made this. And what do you mean this app for your health, it can't impact you? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when it really gets down to it, when you're in the shit, when you are in the mud, you are clawing, scratching, and you're just sliding back down in the mud. Like, it's what someone says and it's what someone reminds you of who you are in those moments. So life, business, it doesn't matter. I think it always is going to come back to someone.
Yeah. I remember I had,
Yeah. Oh,
go ahead. No, I thanks. I love it. You go.
I was walking with Dr. Justin yesterday and catching up with him, Dr. Justin Mosley, talk about TED Talks. His is crushing it. I think he's at like 600 and something thousand views.
Wow.
Very impactful talk. Really helped me a lot. He talks about fear and excitement and how they feel the same and public speaking and all that. But ultimately, I was talking with Dr. Justin and I was telling him, like, I've got some really cool ideas coming up, and I don't know where they're going to go, but I'm going to explore them, and I might land with a product, I might land with an experience. And I started thinking about the TEDx talk. And when you are in a situation of negativity, when you are feeling the stress, the chaos, the problems, everything's piling on, you feel like you can't get out of it, right? And you can't. A lot of times we just say, okay, do the opposite, right? Like flip the switch, think of something positive, have gratitude. And I think that works. And it works for me a ton of the time, but it doesn't work every time. And I was telling him, I'm like, I think that I'm gonna create a human charging station. What the hell are you talking about? And I was like, what if we went into companies and they hired us and it was this booth and they talked to it for 2 minutes every day for like a month, reminded themselves of how badass they are. And then we sold them these little things that went on their desk that was a hand, as if like, this is going to give you a hand up, not a hand out, right? My friend recently told me about that. And and I was thinking, I'm like, wow, how cool would that be? Because you can say stuff today that you can remind yourself in your own voice later in life. And I'm like, that would be charging me up. Like that would be giving humans power, me power. So who knows, Nicole, I might come out with a human connection charging station in the next 6 months.
But the irony is it wouldn't be human. I think you could run human charging workshops that would be such fun experiences. Jim you have such a skill for hosting and facilitating human experiences. That could be a really fun, like, corporation. What other people need? They want to, just like business is not done with businesses, business is done with people. The people at companies need to be charged, need to be, refilled. And that could be a fun experience that you could do because you're so good at experiences.
We'll see what happens.
We all need that little bit of, like, again, that person that we can call, that person that we can reach out to. Like when you're in it, like you said, you're just, you're just failing or frustrated or overwhelmed. We're all going to get there. I think I shared this quote with you the other day, Jim. The quote I heard recently is, most successful people are just walking anxiety disorders harnessed by productivity. I went, oh my God. And, we all need people to reach out to.
By the way, like I've been thinking about that since you said that last week. Yeah.
And we, we're all, and we're high achievers and overachievers and all the achieving type of achievers we can be. And we need those people that can remind us who the F we are from time to time. And obviously we want to be able to do that for ourselves, but we can't always get ourselves there. Like we need somebody else to hold that space for us. And I think those, it's at the heart of what we're talking about. I mean, I remember when I was new at Aramark and very overwhelmed and feeling like, what the hell did I do? Why did I leave a 15-year teaching career to come do this? Like, it wasn't, I might have become very successful there. It was not all pretty on the runway to get there, and I was very overwhelmed in the first couple of months trying to learn what a pipeline was. And this guy that was training me, I also had my own fair share of like some medical challenges at the beginning. I ended up in the hospital with sepsis and all these other things. And I just was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And this guy who had been training me, his name was Jerry. He's amazing. Jerry, if you're watching, he already knows this. I've told him a million times. He looked at me and he said, once you figure out what you're doing, you're going to be dangerous. It was like the next thing I could hold on to and go, somebody thinks I could be good at this. He thinks I could be good at it. Cause like he'd been training me. So I'm like, if he says that, maybe I really can be good. I'm like, you think I can really figure this out? He said, I have no doubt you can.
That power in those words and what that gave you. Wow. Wow.
At a time where I felt like I was thinking this guy who had done it for a lot longer than I had at that point. And he was one of the very first when they announced me as number one to come back. He was with a different company at that time, but he was like, I had no doubt. I had no doubt. And like, it's little things like that, you know, I know made a big difference in my own ability to believe in myself. And I think that's a big piece of what human connection is all about, is when we aren't able to get ourselves there, have the right people in your world that can help remind you who you are and lift you back up.
It's my definition of human connection is two or more people having a vulnerable conversation in hopes that one feels heard, valued, and seen. And that value word, I believe, is just so important because let's just be real. Anybody listening right now, there's been multiple times in your life that you do not value yourself. You do not value your talent. You do not value your skills. You do not value your experience. You do not value what's being brewed in your mind in the moment, right? Like, that's just the truth. And like, I don't know one person who hasn't felt some type of way around value of who they are, what they're doing, and that motivation wears off, right? Like, I am a motivated person, but I can get dark. Like I can disappear. I've done it before where I just like, I'm going to turn my phone off for a couple of days and like, just in it, right? I'm in it. And when you're helping people and when you're strong for others and when you hold that role, I think sometimes we forget that we need someone to hold us up too when we're about to crumble. And I see it in all different times, different relationships, friendships. I mean, I've even had someone cancel speaking a week before because they tried to take their life over this stuff. They're supposed to fly in and speak and be a keynote. And the power that we have, that we can give to that person who doesn't feel valued, the power we have with our words to give that value, to validate those assumptions for the good, to mitigate and remediate those assumptions for the bad that person's making, like that value that we can reinstill in someone's body and their heart and their soul just with our words. Like, how do we not focus on this stuff? How do we not do this for people? How do we, and I get it. I know the answers to that: life, distractions, family, job changes, travel, mom's sick, cousin just died, this person overdosed. Like, we're in a fucking war right now, right? We just bombed a country. Like, you know, like there's so many things going on that we sometimes show up. Yeah. Life's life. Life is life.
Yeah. I had a good friend recently lose their daughter, and I was sitting here one night recently with a lot of things to do on my list that felt very important, that felt like they needed to be done. And I had not yet written a card to this family. And it was like a moment of like, what's actually real? The made up things that I put on my to-do list, which I mean, they're not made up. They're, you know, they're important things on some level, or that I really stop what I'm doing right now and I actually go and write a note saying, I see you. I know that this is a painful moment in your life and I'm thinking of you. Like, what's actually real? What's actually most important? And yes, life's, but at the end of the day, like you said, if we can just let somebody know we're thinking about them, what kind of difference does that make? You know, I know one of our friends does this. He does 5 compliments a day. That's like one of his, you know, everyday habits. Like, he reaches out and compliments 5 people, and we just don't ever know the ripple effect from doing that. And it's not even about the ripple effect. It's just in that moment. Why wouldn't we? Right? Like, life passes you by so quickly. Why wouldn't we stop and acknowledge, I see you. I see you. I got you. You're working hard. You did a great thing today. Whatever. Compliment them in some way. Goes such a long way in just how that person's day might feel.
A compliment is so powerful. And I don't think we actually harness that power and realize how positive an effect that can have on someone.
Yep.
I mean, just hearing someone else confirm one way or another what they believe about you can make you continue going forward with something and not quitting, or you know making an extra phone call. Like, that was something I was talking to someone inside Impact Effect Accelerator, and I'm like, you know hey, that person might not be that person you call, but if you stop, there's someone that you are going to call that needs you more than ever and aligns exactly with what you're going through, right? Like,
Yeah.
there is a woman out there that just went through a divorce. There's a woman out there that, needs to move because of a domestic situation. And you are someone who can help them heal through the process by sharing your story, why you do
Yeah.
what you do. And just make the extra call. If it's one call a day, two calls a day, like wherever your business needs to go, wherever your revenue needs to go, make the extra call, because it's not about you at this point. It's about both of you. You need the money to raise your family as a single mom. She needs a new place to live that's safe and comfortable as a single mom. Make the extra call. And she made the call. And that conversation was so different than the last 10 calls. Then what do you think happened? She got an appointment.
Surprise, surprise.
And it's just,
Surprise. It's
it's
never about what you do, right? It's always about who's doing it, the energy you're doing it from. And if it's genuine and authentic and you're like, I really want to connect with this person, or there's something that you can share with them that could make a difference in their life, and it comes from that authentic place, that's where we want to take action from. Like, I learned that many years ago from my mindset coach. She's like, there's no action or activity or strategy or anything that you could design that makes any difference in any way unless you take action from the right energy. So at the core of it, it goes back to what you were saying earlier with, you were the youngest manager on the whole team and that group of people, and none of them had a relationship, and they're like, oh my gosh. And you're like, yeah, I know all the people that I work with. I work in their office half the time. Like, I spend time there. I get to know them. And it's because that's like the truth for what it really is about. I think that makes it more fun. And I think that is really the point of all of it. I don't think it's ever really about business as much as it is helping people.
It's such a, I don't want to say relief. It's such a game changer when you realize the impact that can come from just treating someone like a human, right? Because we tend to get all wrapped up and put ourselves in this tizzy and overthink and come up with these assumptions and these worries and these emotions. And if we just went into that sales call, we went into that meeting, we went into that random person who DM'd you on Facebook, and you're like, I don't even know this person. I don't even know what they really look like. And this, I'm scared and I'm nervous. But if you just go in and you're like, can I learn about this human? Can I make them feel good? If that's the goal, and be real and honest, right? Like, don't BS. And I like your earrings when you'd never put those anywhere near your body, let alone in your house.
Right.
Like, you don't want to say that.
Right. You could say those earrings look nice on you. There's always a way you can spin it, right? And still be true. Those earrings look really nice on you. I would never wear them.
I like that.
No, but that's it. That's it, right? It's how can you be genuine and also still honest and truthful and really establish a connection. And I think that's a beautiful art and gift to give to people.
I was thinking about compliments, and this is so funny because I got an email from Vanessa Van Edwards. She has a program called School of People, and she's a Harvard professor. She talks about human connection. She's got a book called Cues. I was going to have her speak at a conference, but she's just way too expensive. And power to her, by the way, if she's getting that fee. Like, that's also something I'll say, like, too expensive for my taste, but like, good for you if you're actually getting it.
Heck yeah.
But
especially as a woman.
Yeah, get it. Like, and like, there'd be a time where I could pay that in the future, hopefully, but not right
Yeah,
now.
coming.
uh, but I'm on her email list, and she sent an email, and I was just talking to this with two of my buddies. But it talks about, she was saying like a compliment, like how to give a good compliment. You should always receive a compliment. It's actually rude and doesn't align if someone gives you a compliment and you're like, oh, not me, right? Like I want to give you the compliment, so like take it and own
Right.
it.
Right.
It actually makes me feel good when you're like, thank you so much. Like, seriously, thank you. Like, I really appreciate you saying that, rather than like, oh, that's not me, or that, you know. But she
Right.
said, and this one hits home for me and my two friends, Brad and Jake. I think Brad's 6'8", Jake is 6'7", and I'm 6'5". So we're all really tall guys. And she wrote in the email, she's like, give a compliment that's unique, because going to the tall guy and saying, you're so tall, is not actually a compliment. And
Heard it.
me and Jake and Brad, we talk about this. We went out in Germantown, and we went to some bars or whatever. And all these guys kept coming up to us. They're like, dude, you guys are so tall. You're so tall. And it's like, I fucking know, dude. Like, I know, like I get it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, and it was annoying, right? And there was alcohol involved. People were getting after it. So like, maybe it was just drunkenness, but I just thought that was so relatable to my scenario, because we were saying recently, like, if anybody said anything else to me as a compliment, I would be like, thank you so much. But it's just like that compliment of, you're so tall. It's like, that's not really a compliment. It's something we already know. So as I was thinking this through,
fact, right?
and thinking about those compliments that we were just talking about, I'm like, is that really of value? Right? If we want human,
That right there. What is of value to the other person?
so if I want them to feel valued, telling a tall man he's tall, that's not going to give value to him. If you said, hey, I like your beard, and knowing that I am new to beards, age 35, yeah, first time I've ever grown a beard, but like, that would have been very valuable to me, right? Because it's something new, it's something I've never done, and you're saying you like it, like, okay, sweet. So I just think those compliments, and it's such an interesting topic, because when I started deep down, I'm like, this just comes back to human connection, right? And we tend to compliment things that we like, not actually knowing what they might like, or what make them feel valued or feel good. So I think that rolls into this whole thing as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's where we've got to, I mean, you know this because we talk a lot in the exact what to say world about slowing it down. But if you don't slow it down and gather that context and find out what would be valuable to the other person, you are saying things that don't mean anything to them or that aren't valuable to them. Like I always jokingly say, like you don't want to recommend a steak place to a vegan. I mean, let's just make sure first, if you're going to make recommendations or say things to people, get to know them. It's the show me that you know me. With what you say, with how you make me feel. And I think that is, that's it. It's what's valuable to the other person. That's going to make them,
questions.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I feel like I just enjoy our talks. I could talk to you forever. I think that there's all kinds of good stuff that always comes out of it. I'm excited now that there are some people. Thank you for those of you who have, been saying hello. Let us know in the comments if you were here. Tell us hello. And we're going to be doing these weekly for a while. And we want to make sure that we are showing up and sharing things that are going to be valuable for you as well. Sales, human connection, sales psychology, business. We want to really make sure that we are having conversations that you want to be a part of.
Yes.
We want to connect with you. So thanks for being here. If you were here, tell us #replay if you were joining on the replay. We would love to hear from you if there's something that was said. Thoughts grow stronger when shared. So share it in the comments. And next Wednesday, same time, same place.
We'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.